please be assured that I've not leaked these questions to Dato so we'd like to hear him giving an impromptu answer to all this. The second one says that a report by US-based Global Financial Integrity has placed Malaysia at the third spot in the list of developing countries around the world with illicit financial flows between 2001 and 2010. This is basically 2 ranks up from the previous position. The report also revealed that within the 10-year period, a total of 235 billion US dollars was transferred out of Malaysia illegally. Now, how would PL solve and stem this problem?
Now, the Global Financial Integrity is of course a very prestigious institution based in Washington. I was alerted of the initial report, and frankly, based on my experience as finance minister, I was a bit hesitant to adopt the report and take it up to Parliament because the amount seems staggering. I cannot envisage a situation where 20, 30, 40 billion dollars can be taken out untraced by our very sophisticated radar by the central bank. Just like the weapons and the, not tanks, but mortars smuggled into Lahad Dato, not traced by our sophisticated radar, and then moved out and still untraced by the military. This is amazing. Illicit funds, then I was briefed in Washington. I went for a visit and I had to finish some of my lectures at Georgetown University at that time. I had some time to be briefed by the GFI. Then I was shocked. Now, there is also an issue related to the mispricing, or what were the term used in the past was transfer pricing. It's not an issue about Petronas investments abroad, because it's all recorded. But illicit funds, as explained in the initial report that I presented to Parliament, means corruption, unrecorded, or out of illegal sources, either drugs or unlicensed gambling, etc. So these are serious allegations against a state. So we appeal to the Minister of Finance to conduct full investigations, a special task force headed by the central bank. None of this. The only response we had from the Deputy Finance Minister was, well, the amount was not that much. I don't know, probably $20 billion is not much. 200 billion is a lot. You know, a clearly irresponsible statement coming from UMNO BN leaders. They can close one eye, I mean both eyes, to this. There was never a response. Then I solicited Rafi's assistance to contact these representatives at GFI to invite them to come. They said they are prepared to do so if the central bank or the government is prepared to sit down with them. We gave a date, no response from central bank, no response from the treasury. So clearly, this alone, forget the manifesto. How much do you require? 20 billion, 30 billion extra funds? You forget about all these promises. This alone, the GFI report, the illicit funds, the Global Financial Integrity Report suggests the outflow of illicit funds, and they explain what was meant by illicit funds. Now, as I said, if Dato Najib is true to his word that we want a transparent, responsible, incorruptible government, they would say we must trace. Some, I mean, after all, if they talk about 50 billion, 80 billion, some they can defend, yes. But impossible to suggest that they can defend the outflow of illicit funds in this manner. One of the first things after the 6th of May, inshallah, that we need to do is to set up a new task force, a special task force to trace this illicit outflow of funds by the billions out of this country. That's
my next question, since I'm an academic, Dato Seri, while PR pledge in providing free education and relieving students from their PTPTN loan is highly recommendable, what is probably more important is whether PR will be able to emulate countries like Finland, for example, in terms of education. Finland has built the most successful public education system, and Finnish students have consistently been at the top of the international surveys, tests and rankings over the past decade. Finland transformed its education system following ideas of Paulo Freire, an education professor from Brazil, who was inspired by Marx. Now, will PR be emulating such an education system, although it was inspired by Marx?
Now, in my initial remark, I stated specifically the thrust of our education policy, democratization of access to quality education. I did not elaborate earlier, because there's no point of having access to education. We do not enhance the quality of education at all levels. This requires proficiency in languages. That's why we want to not close this debate on language, but make it very clear that we support education, free education to all, and which means sekolah kebangsaan, sekolah Tamil, sekolah Cina, sekolah Arab, on condition we settle this huge controversy about language, which means the quality and level of proficiency of bahasa must be resolved. We don't want a position where we neglect the importance of bahasa as a national language in all types of schools. Now, with that condition accepted, the Pakatan Rakyat government will support all schools. I repeat, all schools, not bantuan modal or like what is present now. We recognize and support all schools, and this therefore we support this controversy. There must be a clear program to enhance the level of proficiency of the English language, particularly at the secondary level, and a must at the university level. And of course, Finland is cited as an education institution. How is it India can produce a top-class university? Indian Institute of Technology is top 10 in the world. Why is it, with the best of resources, we are not able to? Because we still apply this absurd notion of ketuanan Melayu, including in the selection of professors and deans. So the criteria of selecting a Vice Chancellor is whether you have an UMNO membership and you bring a craze with you to the campus. So I think this is to stop. In one of the parliamentary debates, the UMNO MPs were furious with me because I just returned from a major international conference held in Medina, because the Saudi government and the planning to institute one major international university in Saudi Arabia. The governor of Medina invited me as a keynote speaker. But then, during tea break, I asked him, why on earth did you decide to have a Chinese from Singapore as your first vice chancellor? Okay, he was surprised. I was taken aback. Why did I ask that question? Because actually I wanted the answer, because I wanted to repeat his answer in Parliament. So he said, no, because we need good academics. I said, but there are many Arabs, many Saudis in the States, in the UK. Why don't you take them? You know what his reply? Yes, we will take them as academicians, as professors, but we have to take someone from Singapore, because these Chinese in Singapore has not only the impeccable academic credentials, but has managed a university successfully. So we want to tap his experience for the first years and train our locals. So I asked the UMNO guys, I said, if the Saudis can have a Chinese from Singapore, why can't we have the brilliant Malays, brilliant Chinese, brilliant Indians and Dayak to lead and manage our universities? So the response from one of the UMNO stones was anti-Melayu. I don't know how on earth it comes about to that. So we have the Prakasa guy saying to look at this Chinese lackey trying to promote the Chinese academicians. Completely irrelevant, you know, in that sort of discourse. So good to cite Finland as an example. I would cite even some of the Asian institutions, which is highly commendable. I had a short stint at Oxford. I was so surprised when I met a group of Chinese students, very proficient in English. I thought they must have got the training in the UK. They said no. We had 1 year intensive in Shanghai, but the pronunciation is impeccable. The language, common and English language is certainly far superior. And that motivates me more. That you need to have, my dream, therefore, to have these first-class universities by giving them, the best professors. I don't care. I'm sure we'll have some very good academics like Dr. Farouk, Malays. But we'll have some top Chinese academics. Then I can assure, I don't care whether you are Chinese or Indian or Malay, but we will have to make sure that the best be charged to enhance quality of education in our campuses and universities.
As you are aware, democracy and the rule of law are key to securing the protection and the strengthening of human rights, fundamental freedoms, citizens' rights, as well as scrutinizing and limiting government's power. While PR Manifesto stated clearly that we fulfill all the 8 demands by Bersih, it did not address about the Election Commission. Since independence, the Malaysian Election Commission has presided over 12 general elections, which have not been entirely fair and clean. The lack of a level playing field for all political parties and certain actions by the EC have raised serious concerns over its impartiality and independence. Now, how certain are we that PR will ensure the impartiality of the EC if they come to power? Bersih.
Ambiga dengan Maria lebih arif untuk menjawab persoalan ini. Tetapi memadai itu saya katakan, dalam menghadapi PRU sekarang ini, kita belum dapat jaminan yang tegas untuk menjawab tuntutan Bersih, termasuk jaminan perundangan, jaminan media, dan jaminan senarai pengundi yang sah. Tetapi orang tanya, dengan hambatan dan keterbatasan ini, apakah kita yakin? Saya kata insya Allah, sebab saya yakin. Saudara tahu, saya beritahu pada Amiga hari ini bahawa hari ini memang hari yang malang kepada saya kerana banyak masalah. Tetapi bila datang dan lihat semangat rakyat, itu memperkuat keyakinan saya dan memberikan keberanian, memberikan ketenangan juga kepada saya. I mean the strength. Saya selalu menukil dari kupasan salah seorang filsuf Spanyol yang saya sangat minati, Ortega y Gasset, yang menulis sekitar tahun 30-an. Dalam sebuah bukunya, Rebellion de las Masas, Revolt of the Masses, dia bicara soal kekuatan rakyat. Kita ingat ya, rakyat ini lacking in sophistication dan hanya fikir soal political power, political change. Tidak. Tapi kalau rakyat diberikan pendedahan, ada inherent keyakinan yang tercerna dari dhamir mereka, keyakinan mereka untuk bawa perubahan nilai yang lebih baik. Maknanya sudah faham. InsyaAllah bila kita ambil alih, kita tidak mengharap mengandaikan media seperti TV3 atau Utusan meneruskan dengan cerita fitnah dan pembohongan mereka tanpa dikawal oleh majlis etika media yang bebas. Bukan Menteri Dalam Negeri, tapi majlis etika yang bebas. Ini satu yang semestinya berlaku. Tadi Farouk menyentuh tentang bukan Paulo Freire, Paulo Freire. Saya fikirkan tadi Frantz Fanon, The Wretched of the Earth. Tapi ini Paulo Freire. Paulo Freire bicara tentang conscientization. Maknanya keupayaan mengangkat kesedaran minda masyarakat. Dan kalau pimpinan politik itu tidak merasa mereka itu serba tahu, yang akan menyebabkan dia terjangkit dengan apa yang disebut sebagai arrogance of power. Kalau dia ada that humility, tawadhu, untuk akui bahawa ada kekuatan dari rakyat, dan itu essence. Saya tidak lihat Paulo Freire terlalu Marxis dalam hal ini, kerana dia bicara soal kemanusiaan. Paulo Freire bicara soal humanitarian concern ataupun or universal humanitarian values. Dan ini yang sebenarnya mendekatkan kita dengan kupasan Paulo Freire, terutama dalam keupayaan mengangkat tahap kesedaran rakyat yang disebut juga oleh Ortega y Gasset sebagai hasrat public or people's awareness. Dan sebab itu dalam education tadi, Ortega y Gasset dia cukup menentang pengkhususan atau specialization yang dia sebut sebagai barbarism or specialization. Apa itu barbarism or specialization? Of course, you get a PhD, you know less and less, more and more about less and less. For example, if your PhD is on wayang kulit, you are an expert on wayang kulit, it is important. You know more and more about wayang kulit. Now, kalau engineering pun begitu juga. Tetapi kalau soal kemanusiaan tidak tahu, seni tidak tahu, tidak ada minat tentang puisi, maka lakaran kata yang paling indah dalam satu bahasa itu tidak dapat dinikmati. Maknanya sistem pendidikan itu gagal. Bagaimana apresiasi seni Samad Said itu kerana beliau ada keistimewaan yang tidak dipunyai oleh kebanyakan orang, yaitu kosakatanya, keupayaan memilih perbandingan kata yang paling tepat, pencernaannya dengan bahasa yang begitu pintar. Bagi saya, kalau dalam bidang pendidikan ini perlu dikuasai, dan ini hanya dikuasai dengan melebarkan jaring ilmu. Di antara kelemahan besar sistem pendidikan kita, media kita, ialah meremehkan persoalan, tidak menggalakkan dialog, memperbodohkan dengan propaganda usang, incessant propaganda, not to disseminate truth, but preparedness to disseminate falsehood and slander as a culture. No. Kalau sudah tanya dalam Pakatan Rakyat, kita tidak akan berhasil kalau minat kita hanya kuasa politik dan dasar ekonomi. Kita harus merubah sistem nilai, values, mesti hormat dan iktiraf, merit, mesti letakkan nilai kemanusiaan, human dignity. Bila saya sebut human dignity, a Malay, a Chinese, an Indian, a Dayak, a Kadazan, itu mesti kita angkat, baru dia berjaya dalam manifesto Pakatan Rakyat itu. Pada hemat saya.